네, 여러분, 금요일 주말 시작의 끝자락인데요. chapter 49부터 chapter 450까지의 내용에 대해서 오늘은 이야기를 하겠습니다. 지난 챕터에서는 셰커레랑 블랙이 부부싸움을 하게 되죠. 그 다음에 블랙은 한껏 의기소침해져서 다음날 다시 궁정을 향해 갑니다. 가기 전에 모스크에 들려서 행복한 가정을 꾸릴 수 있게 해달라고 안락에 청하는 건 잊지 않고요. 마스터 어스먼과 함께 궁전을 향하는데요. 블랙은 이미 마스터 어스먼 자신의 두 번째 아버지로 여기고 있습니다. 이런 면을 보면 블랙에게 조금 뭐라고 해야 될까, 박쥐스러운 면이 있기는 한 것 같아요. 이제 가가지고 세 명의 화가들에게 받은 말의 그림들을 보기 시작하는데요. 결국 특정한 코 스타일의 그 모양은 찾지를 못합니다. 그 다음에 이제 술탄이 깜짝 방문을 또 하게 되는데요. 이때 마스터 어스먼은 조금 무리한 시도를 합니다. Master Osman confessed to him that he hadn't been able to determine anything from the illustrations. Nevertheless, he couldn't refrain from drawing our Sultan's attention to the horses in these magnificent paintings. The way one reared, the delicate stance of the next, and in the third, a dignity and pride matching the content of ancient books. Meanwhile, he speculated about which artist had made each picture, and the page boy who gone door to door to the artists' houses confirmed what Master Osman said. My sovereign, don't be surprised that I know my painters like the back of my hand, said the master. What bewilders me is how one of these men, whom I indeed know like the back of my hand, could make a completely unfamiliar mark, for even the flaw of a master miniaturist has its origins. You mean to say, said our Sultan, Your Excellency, prosperous Sultan and a refuge of the world, in my opinion, this concealed signature, evident here in the nostrils of these chestnut horse, is not simply the meaningless and absurd mistake of a painter, but a sign whose roots reach into the distant past of other pictures, other techniques, other styles, and perhaps even other horses. If we were allowed to examine the marvelous pages of centuries-old books that you keep under lock and key in the cellars, iron chests, and cabinets of the inner treasury, we might be able to identify as technique what we now see as mistake. Then we could attribute it to the brush of one of the three miniaturists. You wish to enter my treasury? Said the Sultan in amazement. That is my wish, said my master. 블랙은 이어서 설명을 하죠. 술탄의 보물고에 들어가길 청하는 거는 그의 하림 궁전에 들어가길 청하는 거랑 마찬가지이다. 그래서 블랙은 이제 죽겠구나 싶죠. 하지만 의외로 술탄은 허락을 합니다. 하루 동안 보물고에서 걸작들을 확인할 수 있는 기회를 블랙과 마스터 어스먼은 얻게 되죠. 그 안에 들어가 있는 수많은 보물 그리고 그림들이 이 chapter 49의 대부분을 차지합니다. 그러한 묘사들이요. 그 중에 일부 초반에 나오는 부분을 읽어드리도록 하겠습니다. I saw swords, elephant tusks, caftans, silver candlesticks, and satin banners. I saw mother of pearl inlay boxes, iron trunks, Chinese vases, belts, long neck lutes, armor, silk cushions, model globes, boots, furs, rhinoceros horns, ornamented ostrich eggs, rifles, arrows, maces, and cabinets. There were heaps of carpets, cloth, and satin everywhere, seemingly cascading over me from the wood-paneled upper floors, from the balustrades, the built-in closets, and small storage cells built into the walls. 정말로 아름답고 귀한 걸로 가득 차 있는 술탄의 비밀 보물고입니다. 여기에서 그들은 계속 그림을 찾습니다. 혹시라도 그 코에 대한 특정한 스타일을 볼 수 있지 않을까. 하루 종일 본 이후에 이러한 말이 나옵니다. I now understand that by furtively and gradually recreating the same pictures for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of artists had cunningly depicted the gradual transformation of the world into another. 네. 보물고 안에서 수천 년 동안 같은 주제로 반복적인 그림을 그린 걸작들을 보면서 이들은 이 깨달음을 얻게 되는 거죠. 화가들이 자신의 세상이 서서히 완전히 다른 세상으로 탈바꿈하는 것을 이 그림을 통해서 보여준다. 이 점을 보면 그림이 우리의 미적인 그런 미적인 아름다움만으로 가치가 있는 것이 아니라 역사적으로도 얼마나 중요한 위치에 있는지 또 알 수 있습니다. 그 다음에 이제 마지막 부분을 읽어드리면 되게 재밌는 내용이 나오는데요. 한번 읽어드리겠습니다. I'll be the first to admit that I didn't completely understand what the great master meant. But the close attention my master has shown to the thousands of pictures made over the last 200 years from Bukhara to Herat, from Tabriz to Baghdad and all the way to Istanbul, have far exceeded the search for a clue in the depiction of some horses' nostrils. We participated in a kind of melancholy elegy to the inspiration, talent, and patience of all the masters who painted and illuminated in these lands over the years. For this reason, when the doors of the treasury were opened at the time of the evening prayer, and Master Osman explained to me that he had no desire whatsoever to leave, and that furthermore, only by remaining here until morning, examining pictures by the light of oil lamps and candles, could he execute properly our Sultan's charge. My first response, as I informed him, was to remain here with him and the dwarf. However, when the door was opened and my master conveyed our wish to the waiting chiefs and asked my permission of the head treasurer, immediately regretted my decision. I longed for Shekra and her house. I grew increasingly restless as I wondered how she would manage spending the night alone with the children and how she would batten down the now repaired shutters of the windows. Through the opened half of the treasury portal, I was beckoned to the magnificence of life outside by the large damp plane trees in the courtyard of the Enderan, now under a hint of fog, and by the gestures of two royal pages, speaking to each other in a sign language so as not to disturb the peace of our Sultan. But I remained where I was, frozen by embarrassment and guilt. 이제 계속 그림 보니까 블랙도 감명을 받은 거죠. 마스터 오스만이 밤을 새겠다니까 자기도 기꺼이 그러겠다. 그런데 막상 문을 여니까 집에 가고 싶은 겁니다. 네, 칼퇴를 원하는 직장인의 마음이 이때도 그렇게 크게 다르진 않았네요. 그 다음에 이제 챕터 50에서는 서양화로 그린 무슬림 탁발승들이 나레이션을 맡습니다. 여기에서 이들은 자기들이 서양화로 그려진 계기에 대해서 재밌는 일화를 펼치는데요. 발췌된 부분들을 읽어드리면서 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. We were barefoot, our heads were shaven, and we were half naked. Each of us was wearing a vest and the hide of a deer, a belt around our waists as we were holding our walking sticks, our begging bowls dangling from our necks by a chain. One of us was carrying an axe for cutting wood, and the other a spoon to eat whatever food God had blessed us with. At that moment, standing before a caravanserai beside a fountain, my dear friend, nay, my beloved, nay, my brother and I, had given ourselves over to the usual argument. You first, please. No, you first. We were noisily deferring to each other as to who'd be the first to take up the spoon and eat from the bowl, when a frank traveler, a strange man, stopped us, gave us a silver Venetian coin, and began to draw our picture. He was a Frank. Of course, he was weird. He situated us right in the center of the page as if we were the very tent of the Sultan, and was depicting us in our half-naked state when I shared with my companion a thought that had just then dawned upon me. To appear like a pair of truly impoverished calendary beggar dervishes, we should roll our eyes back so our pupils looked inward, and the whites of our eyes facing the world like blind men. And that's exactly what we proceeded to do. In this situation, it's the nature of a dervish to behold the world in his head rather than the world outside. Since our heads were full of the harshest, the landscape of our minds was more pleasant than what the frank painter saw. 네. 이들은 그림을 그릴 때 두 탁발승들은 실제로 눈을 뒤집어 가지고 더 조금 굶주리고 제대로 된 탁발승처럼 보이기 위해서 노력을 합니다. 그래서 이들을 그리고 있는데 갑자기 어떤 무슬림 교회 장로가 와서 서양인에게 화를 내기 시작합니다. Hey, Frank Infidel, why are you drawing this to? He was saying. These wretched calendary dervishes wander around thieving and begging. They take hashish, drink wine, bugger each other, and as is evident from the way they look, know nothing of performing or reciting prayers, nothing of house, or home, or family. They're nothing but the dregs of this good world of ours. And you, why are you painting this picture of disgrace when there's so much beauty in this great country? Is it to disgrace us? Not at all. It's simply because illustrations of your bad side bring in more money, said Infidel. We two dervishes were dumbfounded at the soundness of the painter's reasoning. 돈을 더 벌기 위해서 이들을 그린다라고 얘기를 하는 거죠. 이 장로는 탁발승들이 쓸모없는 사람들이라고 생각합니다. 그의 기준에서는 그들은 유명인, 상인, 농부, 화가, 쓸모있는 인간 부류에 속하지 않기 때문에 세상에 필요 없는 자들인 거죠. 하지만 이러한 자들의 그림이 오히려 돈이 된다는 굉장히 아이러니한 상황을 보여줍니다. 마지막에 그들은 작은 비밀을 하나 알려주면서 스토리를 끝냅니다. However, the real secret is this. While the frank infidel was making our picture, he gazed at us so sweetly and with such attention to detail that we took a liking to him and enjoyed being depicted by him. But he was committing the error of looking at the world with his naked eye and rendering what he saw. Thus, he drew us as if we were blind, although we could see just fine, but we didn't mind. Now, we are quite content indeed. According to the Hoja, we are in hell. According to some unbelievers, we're nothing but decayed corpses. And according to you, the intelligent society of miniaturists gathered here, we're a picture. And because we're a picture, we stand here before you as though we were alive and well. After a run-in with the respected Hoja Effendi, and after walking from Konya to Sivas in 3 nights, through 8 villages, begging all the way, one night we were beset by such cold and snow that we two dervishes, hugging each other tightly, fell asleep and froze to death. Just before dying, I had a dream. I was the subject of a painting that entered heaven after thousands and thousands of years. 좀 슬프면서도 재밌죠. 일단 실제로 이들이 눈을 뒤집고 있는 걸 보고 눈이 먼 상태로 그렸다는 것, 그건 좀 재밌지만 이들의 처지, 3일 후에 죽게 되었다는 점, 이걸 보면 또 마음 편히 웃을 수는 없을 것 같습니다. 네, 그럼 오늘까지 이번 주도 수고 너무 많으셨고요. 저는 다음 주에 이제 마지막으로 드디어 우리가 My Name is Red, 이 길고 긴 여정을 끝내게 되었습니다. 그럼 저는 주말 이후에 월요일에 다시 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 좋아요, 구독 부탁드리고요. 저는 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계십시오.